Hello. It's been a while. Apologise for the construction noise. I have no control over it, obviously. And while I did think to myself this morning, maybe I should hold off and wait. And I did hold off and wait for a little while. That's not going away. I have no idea when it's going to stop. And I have no other time that I can get this filmed. I'm also, as you can probably tell, still not back in my fucking office. There's a lot of reasons for that. I'm not gonna delve into that now. It's basically like 5 different reasons stacked on top of each other, making one big giant reason, and it's kind of driving me nuts. I'm not gonna lie. I miss my office. I set that up as the perfect space to write and publish books and do all of the businessy stuff that needs doing. And I've discovered that things I can do on my laptop in a living room are write books, but not so much publish books. Let's just put a pin in the fact that I'm struggling real hard at the minute, shall we? Let's just put a pin in that. Because I figured I could give you my 6-month update. So last year, around this time, a little bit earlier, let's not look too hard at that. I gave you a sticker chart update, a 6 months one. So I figured let's do another 6-month sticker chart update. Here's how it's going to go. I'm going to explain what the fuck I'm talking about, sticker charts. Then I'm going to go into my numbers and I'm going to try and do my comparatives. But again, because I'm not in my office, that's my cat, by the way, if you can hear that also. But because I'm not in my office, I can't do active direct comparisons to 2024 because that's when my 2024 calculations are, and I just have not correlated these things very well. So what is my sticker chart? Oh, and then I'm going to say if we can come to any conclusions about what's going on or like fun updates. Okay, so what is my sticker chart? My sticker chart is let me show you a picture. Let me show you a page. Show you a page. This is a page from my sticker chart. I update it every quarter-ish here on YouTube in a short, and I update it every month-ish on my Instagram, so that you can keep up with me if that's something you're inclined to do. Basically, the premise is that for every 200 words I have written of brand new words that are going to go into a book, or theoretically could go into a book, I get a star sticker. And for every 200 words of short story, because I share short stories every single week over on nipwood.wordpress.com, and if you would like to read them, all the links you need are in the description box down below, right next to like and subscribe buttons if you already feel like sticking around. But I get a love heart sticker for every 200 words of short story that I write new words very specifically. If I am doing rewrites, I have now got a sticker system for that. That has been evolving over the course of this year because I have been working on something quite long-winded, so there's been a lot of rewrites, but also because I've been doing rewrites for my book that's coming out in November that I haven't announced properly yet. And is that all the rewrites I've been doing? I think those are all the rewrites I've been doing. So sticker chart wise, that's how it works. I have a sticker now for rewritten words as well. So it's a whole thing. And basically I have been correlating my numbers. For every month I will count up how many stickers I have for my words, and I will total up that. I'll count how many days I've worked, which is the thing that I also calculate with colour coding. It's a fun time. And I will equivalent out how many words per day I'm writing. But please bear in mind when I talk about my words per day, let me just find a good example of a week for it. When I talk about my words per day, I've got to find one that's like a good work week now, that's got like the disparity. I don't have a good picture off the top of my head. I can't find one right now. But basically, like, the disparity is that some days I will write like 200 words or 0 words, and then other days I will write like 5,000 words. So please don't, if you are also a writer, please don't look at this word per day calculation and be there like, wow, you're writing specifically this many words per day. That's amazing. Well, that's so few, because the reality of the situation isn't I'm actually writing that many words per day. That's the average. If I was writing every day, that's how many words I would write per day, but that's not how I do things. Absolutely not. There are weeks where I will just absolutely shred through hundreds of thousands of words, maybe not hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of words. And there are weeks where I will absolutely plod as the most painstakingly slow creature in existence through words, or I won't even write words because I'll have to be doing other writing businessy stuff, right? Disclaimer sort of thing, disclaimer / humble request. Please don't do comparisons here. I'm barely comparing myself to last year's me because I don't think that's reasonable, because my life looks really different year to year, day to day, month to month, you know, all that jazz. It's not a reliably consistent situation that I live with, and I don't think it's fair or reasonable to compare yourself to me any which way, because it's sort of harsh on either you or me or both, because you don't really know what my life looks like and I don't know what your life looks like, and I think comparatively it's not really reasonable. Like, this is my full-time gig, writing, publishing books. That's where I earn my money. So I'm not fighting against a full-time job, but I do have a chronic illness that plays against me, and I have a lot of, you know, the thing, like, I don't know, maybe you're not in a chronic illness circle. There's a joke in the chronic illness community that is having a chronic illness is a full-time job. I'm feeling that really hard this year. But anyway, we get to back to the point of it. The point of it is that I know I should have done this at the end of June, but to be fair, July was Disability Pride Month and I wanted to do the videos I have for that. So, and then obviously I didn't really do anything in August. So, here we go. For the first, I'm going to go through the months, and then I'm going to go through the quarters after, and then I'm going to do the half year. And I'm only going to go up to June. Maybe I'll do July. I've actually got my numbers for August as well. You know what, stuff out. We'll go through everything, because, like, we're in September now. We'll just go all the way up to September. So in January, which is usually quite a difficult month for pretty much everybody who's getting back into writing if they're taking any kind of break. And I take a birthday to Hogmanay break every year, which is about 2 weeks. Sometimes it's 3 weeks because I get to play with that. It can be really difficult to slip back into, I mean, people talk about it with like work and stuff as well, where they're like, it's really hard to get back into work in January. That's really standard. It's really normal. And it's true for writing creative endeavours as well. If you decided to take a break from it over any specific holiday that you may have, it can be really difficult to get back into it. And it's especially true in, like, if it's winter in January where you are, which is the case for me. But if it's winter in January where you are, it can be really difficult to get back into it, especially then because it's darker and it's colder and all of that jazz. I mean, I guess it's less so if you're close to the equator as well. It's like a whole thing. The world is very large and has a lot of different varieties. But what I'm saying is, when it's darker, it's hard to work and hard to be creative. That's like a normal human response to, like, shorter days, darker nights, blah, 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 blah. For me, that's January. For other people, that's now. So anyway, in January, which is always a difficult month to get back into, but I did quite well. My words per day were 1,083. I will remind you that I do very specifically, rewritten words don't count on my word count total, by the way, so like my average words per day does not count for rewrites, but only counts new words. But I will say that I know that it sounds kind of wild and wacky sometimes. I know those of you who understand maths are going to be there like, it's not wild and wacky at all, it's just how maths works. But because I only count in 200s, it's kind of wild and wacky sometimes to have these like 1,083 words per day. And it's like, how are you counting that? I'm not. I remind you, I am counting in 200 increments. Word, like, if I get up to, I'll admit, if I get to 195 words, I'll count it as 200. But if it's anything less than that, I don't even get a sticker for it. But yeah, my book words that I wrote in January were 1,800. And my short story words were 11,200, which is a total of 13,000 words divided by the amount of days that I worked in January, which by the way was 12. It's 1,083. That's how maths works. In February, I did 1,526 words per day, which was primarily book words. Do you know what? We're going to actually go through, I've got in the back of here, So I'm looking at two different places in my planner. So the front, I've been keeping a total. You're just immediately going to like screenshot that and be like, I can see it. I've been totaling up. So I total them up in each monthly block, but I also have been putting them in this birthday and important date section because I'm not going to use it for birthdays. But then in the back, I've been tracking what stories I've been writing. Please don't look too closely at that because some of these are working titles and I have not announced these projects. But in January, my 1,800 book words were primarily the book that's coming out this year. And in February I had, is that 14,000 or 4,000? It's 14,800 book words, which were again, split between the book that's coming out this year and my Clarity Chronicles novels. I have in here which one is which. Well, I haven't announced any of the titles for Clarity Chronicles yet, so I'm not telling that. Then in March I had 8,200 book words, and those are Clarity Chronicles and the books coming out this year. And then 5,600 short story words, which is obviously a total of 13,800 and equates to 1,150 words per work day. Which quarter one, then, no, we were going to do months and then stuff out. We're doing quarters as we go. So quarter one, which is January, February, March, as standard year works out, although, and it does work within like the tax year, but the tax year, the quarter would start in April. And then there's always the school year where the quarter starts in September, which makes no sense because that doesn't fit in to any other quartering system where New Year's is New Year's. But in quarter one, I wrote 56,800 words total, and that equates to about 1,253 words per day, which is cool. And again, that was primarily the book that's coming out this year and Clarity Chronicles, plus two other projects that haven't really been announced. I mean, I did talk about Monster House, and Monster House is one of them, but I basically only wrote Monster House in March, so that's fairly a write-off. But there's this other project I've been working on where I haven't told anyone anything about it, except for my wife, who knows everything. And I don't intend to tell anyone anything about it until I am closer to done, because it might turn out to be, maybe, my 10-year anniversary present to my wife. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if that sounds wild and wacky, in 2023, 5 years into my marriage and 10 years into my relationship, I released a book called Welcome to Humanity, which is a sci-fi dystopian book. It's the first book I've ever dedicated to a specific person rather than like essentially to the reader. It's more complicated than just to the reader, but like Unlicensed Delivery, for example, as a book dedicated to the reader, is a book that is to everyone working the job that keeps the dream alive. But with Welcome to Humanity, it's to the one person who always makes me feel human, because it's dedicated to my wife, because I wrote it for her and I released it around our 5-year anniversary. My plan is to do that again for our 10-year anniversary, well, 10/15, because that's how numbers work, because we were together for 5 years before we got married. So I plan to release another book, and I'm torn between two different ones because she loves both of those, and I am not planning to do 2 book releases for our 10-year anniversary, because that seems like a great way to start having to build up and up and up and up. So then I'd have to release like 3 books on 15/20, 4 on 20/25, and that's not happening. That's just not happening. So anyway, in April, I did 10,400 words of book, 13,800 words of short story, which is 20. That's maths wrong. I've done terrible maths, because 4 + 8 is not 10. 4 + 8 is 12. So it's 24,200 words. It doesn't say that in here. Which is obviously the maths for how many words per day is obviously wrong, because I've done it with the wrong numbers. I've only just noticed. I'm dyslexic, by the way, if you didn't know. This is one of those moments where it's really apparent. But according to my bad maths, it was 1,655 words per day, so it's somewhere around there. So it does look like I write about 1,000 words a day, doesn't it? You're wrong. In May, I wrote 0 short story words because I successfully had pre-written all of my May short stories. I hope, or maybe I just missed a bunch. No, I did a bunch. I missed one. Congratulations to me. Was that May? That was May. And I wrote 3,200 words of book. So that is 3,200 words total, which is 320 words per day, which sounds like very few words. And that's a completely fair assessment. I also did an event in May. I did NCM Comic Con in London. And that eats up a lot of time, because not only eats up, you know what I mean? You dedicate a lot of time to that, or at least I do, because you have to like plan all of your stuff, check your numbers and your prices, and obviously as a dyslexic person that takes a fair amount of time because I have to make sure it's accurate. And then obviously there's actually going to the event, and then because I have a chronic illness there is recovery time built in from doing the event, because it's quite hard on my body to do. Sorry, I had to do it in the silly voice. It's quite hard on my body to do an event like that, because there's a lot of like getting up early and carting things around and doing stuff that I'm not necessarily well equipped for. So, but anyway, in April I did work on Monster House then as well, and Cloudberry Chronicles and this potential anniversary gift. And then in May it was Cloudberry Companions, Cloudberry Chronicles, and this anniversary present. What is Cloudberry Companions? It is, so, okay, I know other people don't do this, and I know other people don't, they're not wrong in the way that they do this. Some people have the thing where the series is every book within it, right? Makes sense. I get that. With Cloudberry Chronicles, I have these 4 very, very interwoven books. There's one series with the main character is Billy, and they're the main character the whole way through. Cloudberry Companions are books that tie into the universe. They are with characters who exist within the Billy narrative, but they are separate stories. Like, Billy might make an appearance in them, but it's not Billy focused, it's focused on these other people. And if you want to see more about them, they are available on mypoodles@wordpress.com. Not the whole thing, like short stories in the universe. So the one that I was working on is the Silly Zone Cat story I've talked about. It's Raz, Atif, and Evelyn are the 3 characters that you've met within short stories. That's the thing that I was working on. That is not Cloudberry Chronicles itself, it's a Cloudberry Companion. I have another Cloudberry Companion, but it's complicated, because when is it not? It's me, when is it not complicated? Then in June, Pride Month, I wrote 10,400 book words and 2,400 short story words for a total of 12,800 words, which is about 984 words per day. So you'll notice that in the second quarter of the year, my words per day goes down. But it is still about, damn, that's the same amount of work days, that's wild. It's still about the same number in the form of, it's only about 200 words less than it was in quarter 1, which feels wacky, but whatever. That's the maths I did, that's what we're working with. And I think I have in my June thingy, yeah, so I have in my June one, I have my 6 month, in my June section, I have my 6 month one as well. So it's not just in quarter 2, I got 1,072 words per day. It's also over the first 6 months of the year, I managed to write 97,000 words, which is about 10,000 words, 20,000 words? It's about 20,000 words more than I wrote in the first 6 months of 2024, which is interesting. And it equates to about 1,293 words per day, which you'll notice, if you can remember, and I'll just tell you so you don't have to, is actually more than my quarter 1 numbers, which was 1,253. So that's a fun fact. And I don't know how that maths works out, how my words per day average has gone up, despite my words per day average going down. My monthly word per day average has gone down, but somehow my 6 monthly one is still quite high. I don't get why. It is what it is. Do you know what? I'm actually really glad I'm going to talk about July and August because are you prepared for a dramatic turnaround? I hope you are. In July, bearing in mind that in July I took a week off for my anniversary. Was it a week or was it 2 weeks? Let me just check. It was 1 week. I took 1 week off for my anniversary, and yet somehow in that month I managed to write 23,000 book words and 6,200 short story words. So that is a total of almost 30,000 words, 29,200, which gives me a words per day of 2,336, which is a lot of words. Like, that is a dramatic increase compared to the previous months, especially considering that, like, in May it was 320 words per day, and then in June it's 984. And then in July, it's 2,336. This is 2,000 words per day more than May. Almost exactly. It's actually a little bit over 2,000 words per day more. And that was almost all Clarity Chronicles. And a scooch of inputting some of the feedback for the book I'm releasing this year, where somebody said that I needed, one of my readers, not just some rando, one of my feedback people said that I needed to include a bit more. So I did, like, and I wanted to have a recap of what happened in the previous book for people who've maybe forgotten, because it's been a couple of years. So, like, added words there, which was quite exciting. And then August, which is obviously just ended recently, I wrote 15,400 book words, 4,600 short story words, which is a total of 20,000 words. A lovely round number. We do adore those. Words per day wise, it's 2,853, so that's almost 3,000 words a day. And it's like, how is this happening? Well, two things. One is that in August, I wrote literally one project, which never happens. You may be thinking, this has happened to you before, Will, if you've been watching my sticker chart life. You may be thinking, this has happened to you before. This is March 2024. I know, that's such a long time ago, but it really sticks out because I wrote 28,000, was it 28,000? Yeah, 28,000 or something like that words within that month. And that was, again, that was just one project, and it was Clarity Chronicles again, which is kind of fascinating. The thing is that looks like it paints a picture of, if you just work on one thing, you'll get more words, right? And I see the logic, I do. And I don't necessarily disagree with that on a fundamental level, in that when I am just working on the one project, often there are more words to be found. However, I know that working on one project exclusively is not a reliable way to consistently continue to make words, right? I've been working on Clarity Chronicles for 2 full years now. It's pretty much exactly when I started writing Clarity Chronicles in 2023. And I said I wasn't going to, and then I did. And I have spent a lot of time on it over these last 2 years. And I'm getting so far through it. It's going really, really well. But it's only going so well because I get to take breaks from it, which is working on other stuff. And I have no qualms or questions about the way that I'm writing books and the fact that I'm jumping between things. Because I know logically, with all of the business brain part of me, that the way that I'm publishing books is chaotic and it's not the optimum strategy, right? The optimum strategy is twofold. You have 2 real optimum strategies. Number 1 is you create what they call an anchor series, or at least some people call it an anchor series, including people like Sarah Cannon, who is a very reliable and helpful resource for self-publishing people like me. But an anchor series is basically the one series you keep coming back to. Right, it's a long series, it gets people invested, people buy book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to, I don't know, 10 or whatever. And then you do like I'm doing with Clarity Chronicles in a way, to an extent, I've got this main series and then you have these offshoot series that all connect back in. That is your anchor series, and that is like an optimized strategy for how to convince people to keep coming back, because they're already invested in the characters, they're already invested in the world state. It's a great choice, right? And I'm not gonna lie, as a reader, I love that shit. Like, there's this one author called Annette Marie. She's got a Guild Codex universe. I started reading them back in 2019 with Tori's books in it, and I really enjoyed them. I read the secondary series, for lack of a better way of describing it. What are these characters' names? I've completely forgotten the main character's name. The demon in it's called Zealous, and I've forgotten the main character's name, which is embarrassing, but hey ho. I read that one because it tied in, and then I did try reading the other books as well. There's a main character called Kit and a main character called Zach. I would love to tell you the titles, but my brain will not access them right now. Unfortunately, that is how my brain works. And I just didn't get on with them. They weren't for me. Them's the shakes. Sometimes it happens. I'm not saying they're bad books. I don't think they're bad at all. I think they're very well written books. I think they're very well crafted. I think they're good books. I just didn't like them. It's not naming and shaming, because there's nothing wrong with them. They're just not for me, you know. So I see how an anchor series works. I like them as a reader. I'm not gonna lie. I read a lot of series like that, that are like these anchor series, and I think they do a great job. I think it's a really nice kind of thing to keep coming back to the same world sometimes. I also read a lot of series that are, or books that are all over the place. So anyway, yeah, optimized system is anchor series. It works really well. I get it as a reader and a writer. I don't do that because it's just not my style. I can't do it. No. The other format that people suggest is doing lots of books that are quite kind of similar. It's not like an anchor series, but it's the same kind of tropes, the same kind of world building, the same kind of characters. The reliability of going back to an author, knowing exactly what you're getting into. And again, I have had this before. Like, trying to think of an author now. Maybe Ilona Andrews is a great example. When I was a teenager, I read a lot of their books. That's a writing team, that's what I'm saying there. I read a lot of the Ilona Andrews books when I was a teen, and a lot of them, they're set in the same kind of location within the US, but like a magical version of the US. And they've got like this badass, kick-ass heroine who is good at fighting and takes no shit from anyone. Me and my brother really loved those kinds of books when we were teenagers. And I'm not saying they're for teens. There's some smutty stuff that happens in them. But my mum was consenting to us reading this. She read those books also, and like she knew what was going on. I'm also not saying they're completely inappropriate for teens. I don't think they were inappropriate for me to read when I was a teenager. Anyway, the point is that, like, you know, when you open an Ilona Andrews book, what you're getting into, right? You're getting an urban fantasy with a kick-ass heroine. There's going to be magic. It's going to be set in the US, but magically, right? You know that going in. Those are the two main ways that people suggest and advise that you, as an author, build your platform, build your brand. And I'm not doing that. I mean, I'm not doing it. I think when you open a Will Saltzman McGrath book, you kind of know that you're going to get the same, not the same vibes. But I had a review the other day, it's on Goodreads, for Not the Fighting Kind. One of the reviews on that said that they met me at an MCM Comic Con, and they liked me as a person. Very flattered, thank you. That they got on with me as a person. I was, this is me. And they described it as my voice is all over the page for Not the Fighting Kind. And I think that is pretty much what I am offering up with all of my books, is that they are absolutely drenched in my voice, my humour, my style. So even though there's a lot of genre hopping, and even though there's a lot of like, this series starts and it's going to take a long time to get through, because like the IPA series, for example, it is going to take me a while to get through those. Like, I have a lot of ideas, I'm working on a lot of ideas. And it's going to take me a while to keep publishing those. It's probably going to be one every 2 years or so, because that's just how it goes, right? That's just, sometimes these things are the way that they happen, and things take the time that they take. And I am okay with that, because A, I have a chronic illness, and you kind of have to learn to be okay with things just taking as long as they take, because you don't have any control over it. And B, I am in this job because I cannot stop writing to save my life, but also because I'm here to have a good time, right? Like, when working for yourself, I think that it's really unfortunate that so many people kind of forget that you are allowed to just have fun with it. You are allowed to make your work life as fun as possible. I have a sticker chart for work. So I'm not optimizing stuff in a lot of ways. Like, I'm doing the optimization where I can, but a lot of the optimization looks like making sure that my book blurbs are neatly done and are indicative of the tone and style and content of the book. Not just the content, but the tone and style have to come through clearly in the blurb and the description. I am doing it in the form of making sure that I have it tagged in the right genre categories wherever I can, although genre is very difficult and I am struggling hard sometimes. I am making sure that the covers are attractive and appealing and also genre indicative, right? These are the places that I can optimize, not the actual process of writing itself, unfortunately. So the other thing to bear in mind is that once again, once I'm like going through August and looking at this 15,000 words of book words, right? And thinking, oh my gosh, if you just worked on one project at a time, you could have this all the time. That's not true. Because I am at a stage in my writing process, and I think I've talked about how my writing process looks before. I hope I have. But I'm at the stage in my writing process where a lot of what I'm doing is filling in the fun gaps between, right? When I'm writing a book, typically what I'll do is I'll start at the beginning and I'll jump to whatever is interesting, and then I'll go back to the beginning and I'll jump to whatever is interesting that I haven't done already yet, and so on and so forth. And I just rewrite the same book over and over and over again until I get to a point where it's finished. That's how I write books. It's a wacky way of writing books. I don't know anyone else who writes books like this. Actually, I do. There was one person who commented on my YouTube video about it. Hello to you. So I assume there are some other people out there that write books the same way. But the point is that that's how I do things. And I'm at a stage with Clarotbury Chronicles right now where some of those foundational pieces are in place and some of them are getting absolutely tossed out of the window because they are no longer relevant by the time I get to them again. But what I'm mostly doing is what is a fun, like not even the most fun. I love starting something new, and I love the editing something when it's finished, and I just love all the parts of the process. But it's really fun because one of the things that I'm at the stage of now with Clarotbury Chronicles, which is again the same stage I was at in March 2024 with Clarotbury Chronicles, because there are 4 books and I'm writing them all in one go. It's complicated, and I will talk about it, but only when I have a release date for Clarotbury Chronicles. But I'm getting to the point where there are some of these pieces in place and I get to fill in all of these gaps, and I'm not necessarily not thinking about the big plot, because obviously everything ties in, but I'm not really focused on what is the big plot. I sort of vaguely know that's over there, we'll get to it eventually, and I'm filling in all of these gaps, and that is my optimum writing zone, basically, is that I don't have to think about the main plot and thinking about all of the character relationships and how to demonstrate that a character is capable or incapable, what they struggle with, what they're good at, who they are as a person, all of that kind of stuff, how they interact with each other, how they interact with the world, how to demonstrate other people's characteristics through the lens of the main character. All of that stuff is the stuff that I excel at, and that once I get started, I just go, right? And that's the stage I'm at again with Clarotbury Chronicles, because I'm in the 3rd book now. And that is the maximum number of words, right? There are so many other parts of writing and publishing books And some of them don't allow for sticker charts, right? Like I wrote the blurb for the IPA book I'm bringing out this year, and that doesn't count for any stickers, partly because blurbs are very short, and partly because it's not adding, like I could count it as book words, but that feels disingenuous, and obviously it's completely my choice whether I'm going to or not, but it feels disingenuous. I wrote a workshop script / PowerPoint the other day, which, as it turns out, the event that I was going to do it at was cancelled, so never mind. But I wrote a workshop script, and that didn't get any stickers either, because in the grand scheme of things, it's not fiction words, and that's the thing that I'm counting. I will say, with this whole sticker chart thing, again, the purpose is to gather data, see how long it takes me to write a book. And I've started logically writing down when I've finished a book, and like, depending on what stage it's at, how many words it has in it. So like, I finished one of the Claire Oakley Chronicles books the other day, and bearing in mind it's not actually finished, it's just finished for now this time. And I wrote down however many words it was, and I circled it in green pen. Let me see if I can do this without completely exposing my entire life. There we go. And like, I have no doubt that I'm going to go back and add more things to it and change things about it, because that's sort of how writing works. And also because I know that like that's part of the piecing together the puzzle of these 4 books. But I have been noticing that since I started doing my sticker chart, and particularly this year with everything else that's going on and being in my living room instead of in my office, that I am prioritizing writing words, sometimes, not all the time, over other aspects of the business, which was something I was aware of the possibility of, because sometimes when you get that like external reward for something, which is in this case just a sticker, like I'm not gonna lie, it's a thing as well, if people guarantee people are gonna be there like, oh, like when I had a sticker chart for chores as a child, and at the end, like if I did all of my chores, I'd get a prize. There's no prize here. The prize is the sticker. The task is the words, the prize is the sticker, and once you're done with the sticker, that's it. That's the whole point, right? Because I mean, the reward is also just publishing a book. It's a complex, convoluted system, but I have noticed that, because I don't know whether it's because of the stickers themselves and the excitement of getting to stick a sticker in, they're very pretty holographic stickers, or whether it's because I'm sharing it all online, so there's this like eyes on kind of concept to it, or maybe it's a bit of both. But I have noticed that I'm prioritizing trying to write words over a lot of different aspects of the business. Hello, why haven't I posted a YouTube video for the entire month of August? But it's not just that. There's lots of other pieces as well that have been kind of delayed. I did also miss my mailing list email for August. I will be sharing that at some point this week. I don't know exactly when, but that is something that's on my radar for doing. There was, again, other stuff that got in the way. 5 issues stacked on top of each other. But basically it's the thing of like, it's becoming not a problem. I don't think it's a problem, but it is notably not as balanced necessarily as it used to be. Like, I don't know, maybe it didn't used to be balanced. I'm noticing that this year, especially more so than last year at the very least, I am desiring to write words for sticker chart rather than write words because I want to write words. And I don't know whether this is going to be positive overall, negative overall, or neutral overall, because this is my first time noticing it. I mean, I've written it down so that I remember. But like, I don't know whether this is going to have any impact on how my writing career goes, how I manage everything else. Because I've got other stuff that I need to put on my plate, but I'm procrastinating it. And I don't know if I'm procrastinating it because I want to have words written because of the eyes on or the sticker chart part of it, or if I just generally want to write words. Or if I'm procrastinating it because I just don't want to do it right now. And I don't know, it's tough because it is just that thing of, how do you figure this stuff out? I don't have an answer to that question. So, yeah. That is my sticker chart update. I would love to give you like I have written this many words, but I didn't calculate that in advance, so I don't actually know the answer to that question. I've written this many words so far this year, but if you would like to add them all up, I'm going to run through them really, really quickly. I will not be able to put it on the screen because I can't do that. I can't edit the YouTube videos I'm posting. You just get the unfiltered thoughts from my face. So I'm going to run through my totals again for this year so far. It is 13,000, 20,600, 13,800, 24,000, 3,200, 12,800, 29,200 and 20,000 words. And if any of you are wondering how exactly 29,000 words equals 2,336 words per day and 20,000 words equals 2,857 words per day, it's because of work days. Bear in mind, this is not divided by 30 or 31 days, or 28 in the case of February, in a month. It's divided by how many days I have worked. So if we were to take, I can't show you that month because it's got private stuff on it, or that one. I don't know if I have a single month that does not have some massive amount of details about my life and stuff that I don't necessarily want to share. We could do July. No, we can't. But basically what I have, I'm so sorry I couldn't show you, I really wanted to, but basically what I have is I have like a thing of like colour coding. I can show you my colour coding pens. So I have red for appointments that are going to interrupt my day, green for a work day, yellow for a holiday, and purple for a sick day or a day where I'm sick even if I'm working. And so I count up how many work days I've got, not how many work days there are in a month, not how many days I should work, not how many days there are in a month, none of that. It only counts the days I have actually actively worked. And in August, I took some time off to go to my stepsister's wedding. And also in August, what else happened? There we go. In August, I took a whole week off to go to my stepsister's wedding. And then the week after that, I was really sick. Not like with anything I caught, just because I have a chronic illness and these things happen. So in August, I worked for like 7 days total. So I got 20,000 words over the course of 7 days. And in July, I also took a holiday because it was my anniversary. But I didn't get sick after because I didn't overexert myself. And I wrote 29,200 words, but that got split over 12 and a half days. Well, 11 days plus 3 half days. Which obviously creates less words per day because there were more days involved. Which I'm sure all of you could have figured out on your own. Because you're no fool. Anyway, I hope this is entertaining and maybe informative. If you are doing anything similar like this, like let me know how you're counting your words or whatever. And I would love to find out how other people are doing things, because I don't know if this is like, I don't want to say I don't know if this is the best system. I'm enjoying the system I have. But it is always fascinating to me to see how other people are doing things. And you may be thinking, no man, mine's really boring. Will, mine's a really boring system. It's only boring because you're used to it. I talked about this before. Day in the life is interesting, not because your life is interesting, but because it's different from other people's lives. Would I do a day in the life? No, because I don't want to have to set the camera up. And also because I can't edit videos together either, which is kind of a nightmare. And yeah, it's not going to happen. I'd love to do it on the one hand, but also on the other hand, I just don't think it would be very interesting. And I know I just said it would be interesting because it's novel to other people, but it's literally like, well, right now it's me getting up and coming downstairs because I have a 2-story house. And then I open my laptop and I type for however many hours. And obviously if I got sick at any point because I have a chronic illness, I would just turn the camera off. I'm not recording that. So if I had to call it quits early because I didn't feel very well, that would be the end of the video. So all you would get is just me tap, and I just don't think that's entertaining. Maybe I'm wrong. I will see you, well actually actively see you in 2 weeks time definitely. I will definitely actually be posting my works in progress video, and I will definitely actually have a release date and title announcement and cover reveal for the book that I'm bringing out this year. I will have all of that in 2 weeks' time. If you want to be around for it, you should click the subscribe button right next to the like button if you want to stick around and you feel like letting me know that you enjoyed yourself.